Cascadia College is an equal opportunity institution and does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, gender, and/or sex, disability, national origin, citizenship status, age, sexual orientation, veteran status, or genetic information. All Cascadia materials are available in alternative formats and can be requested by contacting the Human Resources Office. To request disability accommodations for student events, please contact Disability Support Services at 425-352-8128 or disabilities@cascadia.edu at least 10 days prior to the event.
In this video, we will be analyzing what role marijuana plays in a cross-cultural context, with a focus on Rastafarian weed culture and that of our very own weed culture. You want to know what this was really all about? The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we can disrupt those communities, we can arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course you did. This quote exemplifies a more malicious scenario in which ethnocentrism has been used to diminish the validity of culture and dehumanize the people within it. It reflects the same way in which Rastafarian people have been and continue to be treated unequally. However, the socio-political agenda of deframing weed culture is not a new thing and has not changed much since.
In the next part of our video, we interviewed a Cascadia student who uses marijuana for medical purposes and has knowledge on weed culture. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a few interview questions. So the first one is, do you use weed, and if so, for what purpose?
I do. I smoke weed for medical and recreational purposes, mostly medical to treat my back and constant pain, as well as post-traumatic stress disorder, but also recreational in a social environment.
Mm-hmm. So, what is marijuana?
It is a plant that has intoxicating qualities, but also medical qualities. The intoxicating qualities are called THC, and the medical qualities are called CBD.
Perfect. Okay. Would you consider weed to be worse than cigarettes?
No.
Would you consider marijuana to be worse than painkillers?
Definitely not.
Okay, so do you think marijuana is a gateway drug and or addictive? That's been a really popular thing in the past.
That has been a popular question and quite a discussion, which caused the legalization of it to be a bit more difficult, but it's definitely not a gateway drug. Usually people who smoke weed and start doing other drugs do it for other purposes, peer pressure, personal issues, addiction in their genes. It's not because of the weed. I don't think that's possible. But as for addiction, I know that you can become physically dependent, especially since it has medical qualities. So if you stop smoking weed and you struggle with pain, then your body is going to treat you like shit.
Yeah, makes sense.
Tim? I don't understand. You used to get such good grades.
No big deal. It doesn't matter much.
Sit down a minute. Tell me what's going on, Tim. You should stay home every night until you catch up on some of your schoolwork.
What? Don't tell me what to do. I can run my own life without you telling me what to do.
I'm not going to take this anymore. I've had it with his lies. He's becoming a monster. Does he think he's fooling? I know he's using drugs. I've got to make him stop before he kills himself.
Weed will make you lose your mind seems to target adverse effects of weed, yet it is revealed our main character is actually addicted to a lot of drugs, including pills and alcohol. How do you feel that portrays weed culture?
I think that it's a very inaccurate portrayal of weed culture. It's not weed culture if you're mixing it with other drugs, especially not alcohol and pills and what appeared to be like acid that he was doing. In fact, oftentimes people use weed to get off of those hard drugs. Like, I know someone who's opening a rehabilitation facility that uses weed to get off cocaine and heroin and meth because it eases the transition. So if anything, he was taking the weed to come down off of all the other drugs he was doing.
All right, I think that's good.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently they dance. Innocently scent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes, hidden in an innocent shoe or watch case.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You will meet Bill, who once took pride in his strong will as he takes the first step toward enslavement.
Of course, if you're afraid.
Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide, and the ultimate end of the marijuana addict. Hopeless insanity. See this important bill now, before it is too late.
Okay, so in the video Reefer Madness, the people seemed like insane when using marijuana. Is this an accurate portrayal of what it's like?
No. They acted like they were on speed or ecstasy, treating it like a party drug. There's so many stereotypes that don't even exist for weed nowadays in that video. Like, you're not really horny when you're stoned. You're not going to be jumping out of windows or going insane when you're stoned. That's going to take too much effort. And also, they just looked like they'd lost their minds. Like, no stoner is going to be running around like that. You just don't have that much energy, and it's more of like a calm meditation almost like drug, not like party drug. But you can treat it like a party drug if you mix it with others in a less healthy environment. So that one, they looked like they were mixing ecstasy and weed.
Yeah. Okay.
The stereotypes, both portrayed in the video, along with the knowledge Jenny provides on weed culture, are in themselves very interesting and complex. However, this is only one unique aspect of weed culture. In Barbados, a place mentioned in our reading of Nice Schools Don't Talk to Rastas, we see an entirely different culture surrounding weed. To begin, let's describe what a Rastafarian is and what role they play in weed culture.
Rastafarians are a religious group founded by Marcus Garvey, a man who sought to reject the globalization of English colonialism by practicing African traditions and culture. The unique way in which they dress, the places they live, which are oftentimes caves, as well as their horticulture-like lifestyle and use of marijuana, are all parts of what makes a Rasta a Rasta. In the Barbados village with a very different culture and lifestyle, the villagers have only recently been exposed to Rastas and are not accustomed to the reasonings behind Rastafarian culture. As a result, it is very difficult for them to be culturally relative and coexist. This has led to the outright rejection of Rastafarian culture, making them what is known as Fourth World people. Weed is used in varying ways, and depending on the culture it is surrounded by, its cultural significance and view changes. We see in America weed being used medically, as in Jenny's case, and weed being used recreationally, and even as a way to get off of harder drugs that haunt American streets. However, weed is not a miracle drug, and physical dependency can still happen, and as Jenny highlighted, it is still an intoxicating drug in some circumstances, depending on use of THC or CBD. This use of the intoxicating THC causes the view of marijuana to be negative in some cultures, such as ours and Barbados culture. So weed plays a multi-part role in varying culture contexts. Weed is a medicine, a religious practice, a pastime, and a drug with the potential of abuse.